how's it going? My name is Zombie, and thank you so much for tuning in today. I have for you three true paranormal stories. If you happen to like videos like this, make sure that you hit that thumbs up button, share with your friends, or maybe even subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Just as a background before I start, since I was a young girl, I've always been haunted by spirits, or at least see or hear them occasionally. Every house I've lived in, I've experienced paranormal activity, some worse than others. Also, many places I visit, travel, or work, though this most recent more scares me above all others. My only conclusion is because the presence of it feels so strong and overwhelming. I've recently been seeing silhouettes of a large man. There has been 3 incidents so far. The first happened at my brother's drive-through coffee shop, a place which I've never had issues before. I was cleaning the espresso machine and I turned around to put some utensils in the sink. As soon as I turned around, I saw a dark figure for a second before my eyes started spasming and I saw splashes of color. It was as if my eyes couldn't focus. I panicked and darted quickly outside, panting as I rubbed my eyes. After I had calmed myself, I slowly opened the door to check if the figure was still there. But of course, it was gone. I continued to work the day with no further issues. The second took place about 4 or 5 days later at a local berry stand that I run. This was one of the days where I had no help, so I was alone. But I have mace and a big knife on my hip, so I feel pretty safe. But still very aware of my surroundings, of course. I went to my car that was parked near the berry tent to grab a snack. I felt like someone was following me, so I turned around and saw the figure again, but much clearer. I could tell it was the figure of a man this time, and that he was wearing a cowboy-style hat. Then my eyes once again spasmed and I saw colors. This incident frightened me so much more deeply than the first. My heart was thumping so rough that my chest was painful, head to toe goosebumps that stung. I tripped over a nearby stool in a panic, but of course, by the time I looked up, he was gone. From time to time for the rest of the day, I kept seeing him stand in the same spot out of the corner of my eye. After the second incident, I confided in my mom. She is a nurse, so she sent me straight to the doctor, telling me I might be having a small seizure. I told my doctor about seeing the colors and about my eyes spasming. I left out the part about the figure. I really didn't want to be put on some kind of weird medication. She said that she thought it was vertigo and gave me exercises that could fix it. But I have no other symptoms of vertigo, such as nausea, dizziness, ringing in my ears. The third incident happened last night in my bedroom. I was sleeping next to my husband when I woke up in the middle of the night, realizing I had to use the bathroom. I rose up and immediately saw the figure standing on his side of the bed, really close to him. I shot out of the bed and turned to face him. This time, he didn't disappear. Also, I could see him perfectly. My eyes didn't spasm like they did before at all. He had an orange speckled outline around him, but he was completely dark besides that. And even though he appeared a completely black figure with no eyes, I still felt as if he was staring at me. After a brief moment of observing him, I swung open the door to the hall to let the light shine in, and then he was finally gone. Today I researched and found that other people have been seeing a shadowy figure with a hat, calling him Hat Man. I have never heard of him before, but it's strange because it was only in the second incident that he was wearing a hat, though he had the same strong presence every time. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago I was at home in my room doing revision. It was around 1 a.m. and I was doing revision because I couldn't sleep and I wasn't really in the mood for games as I'd probably get mad. My dog sleeps in my room pretty much next to where I'm sitting. He gets woken up by a fly landing on his nose or something a few times. I try and kill it so it doesn't bother him, but I don't manage to. Eventually he gets annoyed and leaves my room. Directly outside my door is a hallway and the end of my stairs. There are two kinds of steps, then a little platform where you take like a U-turn and continue on down. My dog normally sleeps on the platform if it isn't in my room. As he leaves my room, naturally, he leaves the door open slightly. I see him leave my room, but then I see him stop in the middle of the hallway, looking up. He just stood there, didn't bark or anything, just stood there. After a few seconds, he steps aside, tracking something with his eyes. But I don't know what it is. He's looking up about as far as he would to see my dad, who was asleep. I see him track whatever it is towards my door until he looks into my room. First, I thought it was a fly, but then I think a person. Because I'm quite a paranoid person, and why would he step aside for a fly or a moth? And what reason would he have to bother to track something? Look back at me, and then just continue? He never does. Even if I call his name, he normally doesn't bother looking back. I jump out of my chair and fall next to my bed, but nothing happens. Just silence. Nothing has happened since, but it honestly very freaky. Was there an invisible man I couldn't see? Or am I freaking out over nothing? I don't know. Probably not, as I don't believe in ghosts. Still, very strange. This event happened to me my freshman year of high school, a few days before the school year ended. I was super stressed because, well, finals. I was crying because I was getting yelled at by my math teacher. I remember looking at her desk and muttering something like, "If I could, I would fuck up your desk so bad." She's super OCD, so it would drive her insane. Anyways, I remember a few seconds later there was a loud thud, and I looked up and her computer had fallen off of her desk. We all thought it probably just fell. But then all of her papers flew across the room and she ran out. Everyone was freaking out and I couldn't understand why until I realized that they didn't see what I see. I looked over at her desk and I saw my big brother. He died when I was 3. All I could do was smile and whisper the words, "Thank you." He looked at me and smiled, and then disappeared. I'll never forget that day. I told my mom about it, but she didn't believe me and told me to never say such things. I never saw that teacher again, so I'm pretty sure she quit or something. But every once in a while, I hear someone talk about what happened that day. I think my brother is still around, even though I haven't seen him.